So Shudder dropped a couple new originals, and of course I had to check them out. One of those being The Banishing, and The Banishing is brought to us by director Christopher Smith, who is definitely one of the most overlooked directors in the genre. He made Creep, the one set on the train, not the found footage one with the Duplass brothers, the Duplases, Duplass plus Duplass one, whatever. Anyway, he also made the very beloved Triangle, which is definitely his most known or well liked film, I would say. Maybe Severance is really heavily regarded as well. People really love Severance, which is very good horror comedy. And he also made Black Death with Sean Bean, which I think is great as well. So this guy had made a a good amount of really good genre films in a row, and then he kind of took a big hiatus and he did some other stuff, and now he has returned with The Banishing. And The Banishing is set in the 1930s, and as far as a plot synopsis goes, here's the thing. I'm going to say this. The film is really well shot. Like, technically, this film is very good. Like, the acting is all really good. The cinematography, everything looks great. Everything about the film, from a technical standpoint, is very good. There are some horror tropes for sure, but there is some legitimate creepiness and some really inventive, cool shots that I thought were eerie and memorable. The film also has a great atmosphere throughout. The problem with the film, and what I know this to be true because I watched it. Now, I was, granted, distracted whilst watching this because I had to watch it in clips and phrases. I was at work, as usual, trying to watch this in between clients. I was watching 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, half an hour there, over a couple day period. So that does not help with a confusing movie. But I then finished it, and my girlfriend wanted to watch something, and I wasn't able, to do it. And I was like, oh, what you should watch is The Banishing. And I didn't tell her anything about it. I didn't tell her my phone was on it. I didn't say a word. I was just like, oh, you should watch it. It's on Shudder. I just watched it. And she was like, okay. So she watched it, and then we talked after, and she was like, yeah, I liked it. It was good. It had great atmosphere, and it had some really creepy moments. Everything I said. But she was like, I have no idea what happened. Like, I don't understand this and this and this and this. And she really paid attention. I mean, she watched it in one sitting, and she was really focused. And she's very, very good at, analyzing and finding out like what works and what fits and this and that. Probably better than me, honestly. So I was kind of relying on her, because I was like, all right, and I was wanting to talk to her about it, like, okay, maybe you can explain all these things that I don't understand, because maybe I missed something because of how I was watching it. And she had no answers for like any questions that I had. And she was just like, yeah, no, I don't know what this is. So what it feels like, honestly, and this is something we both agreed on, like, it feels like multiple scenes are missing from the movie. Because it's just, there's so many things that are in this film that I'm like, wait, what? How does this relate to this? And what does this mean for this? And what's this for this? And who's this? It's that kind of movie where you're at the end and you're like, I don't get it. What happened? It's well directed. The scare sequences are quite good. As I said, some are tropey and things we've seen a million times. But other ones are inventive and cool. Like, it's, from an atmospheric horror standpoint, it's quite good. From a storytelling perspective, it's muddled and messy. Maybe on multiple viewings, I could start putting things together, but I don't think a film should be this confusing. I'm fine with ambiguity. I'm fine with figuring things out as I go along. I don't need to be spoon-fed. But I do want to have a good sense of what just happened, with questions. But this was, I didn't have a good sense of what happened, and I have unlimited questions. So that's frustrating. That's frustrating. So I feel like this maybe got muddled in the editing room, and that multiple scenes exist that would have made this film much clearer, and hopefully a director's cut comes to the surface one day that makes more sense. Or maybe, Found Flicks or somebody will release some explain video, and then, they'll explain it to a moron like me that'll be like, oh, oh. But yeah, I'd have to watch it at least one more time and really focus and try to like go maybe scene by scene and like write down what I watched and then be like, okay, so this connects to here, why? So anybody who has a good understanding of this film, if you have, I mean, I don't expect you to explain the whole damn movie in the comments, but maybe a video that explains the film would help for me. I don't know, but regardless, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough recommend because of how confusing it is, but I still think it's a good movie. Sean Harris is in it, who I quite like. He was in one of my favorite horror movies of the last few years called Possum. He's also a villain in the Mission Impossible franchise, the later sequels. But man, I want to recommend it because I think that technically it's very good, but man, it's too confusing to recommend. So watch it if you're okay with it not making a lot of sense. And if you watch it and it makes perfect sense, you can come back and you can berate me and my girlfriend, and I'm okay with that. It's all right. Well, okay, berate me. Don't berate her. Anyways, let me know. Adios.